Oh, I should probably get the YouTube up as well so I can see what people are saying.
There, and we are live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to what we're going to call episode 1 of Kings Under the Mountain, until I convince Richie here that it's a dumb name. I'm kidding.
It's a great name, mate. How's it going? You okay?
I'm fantastic. I'm doing fantastic. I had a morning of painting, and now I'm ready to talk to a YouTuber I love. So there's a bunch of YouTubers out there that are doing old world stuff ever since the last year, and let's show them all out. Let's get them all growing, because I think while wargaming, there's a bunch of channels popping up every year, there's not enough old world channels popping up. Or battle reports anyway. Richie, how are you doing battle reports? Just so that somebody else will make them so I can watch them. I can't watch my own.
I have actually tried to make some of my own, and I just kind of died after editing for about 6 hours onto turn 2.
Okay.
So I don't think I'll be doing any.
I'm going to. You're gonna one day. Okay, so first of all, everybody, how's everybody doing? This is Richie from Dawiafterdark. Link in the description below. Go check him out. We got to get you over to Canada because I'm not coming over there, and then I'm going to teach you how to make a battle report. Where I promise you, you will not believe me when I say the editing will be less than 5 minutes. It can be done.
Is that using some kind of app, or is that you actually editing it properly?
No, it's literally not. Okay, I'm going to tell everybody my editing secrets. So if you ever came into a mini wargaming or mountain miniatures for a battle report, and you saw us record a battle report, you're like, wait, literally that's it? There is no editing. This is my editor, the button that turns the camera on and off. So camera is recording, I say a thing, the camera's where it's got to be, I'll turn the camera off, and then I talk about what the next move, whatever, turn the camera on. There is no editing. So it's camera on, camera off, and then all the clips go together. There's no trimming. Now, you probably, a lot of days people be recording with their phones. Same thing, camera on, camera off.
Yeah.
If you don't record anything that needs to be trimmed out. Now, every now and then, because everybody has an editor, you put it, well, I have a camera here I can show. Okay, well, every now and then you'll put your hand in front of the camera lens, click record. It's a black screen, and there's like a little instruction. Oh, I said I was hitting on 3s, I was actually hitting on 4s. Can you trim that last clip out? It's a black screen. The editor sees that and knows when to go check something. But for the most part, if there's no mistakes like that, which happen not that often, to be honest with you, it takes 5 minutes to edit a battle report.
I guarantee I'm so bad with technology. Yeah, 100% do it the hard way. Right, I've managed to actually finally see what we're doing now. I was like, I had some technical difficulties on my side, so I can see what's going on now. Here we go.
Now, don't get me wrong. You got something like, so that's the mini wargaming / mountain miniatures, and the mountain miniatures way is the mini wargaming way. That's the mini wargaming way where it's like ultra low budget, but like we just keep them going out. And then you got stuff like play on tabletop or whatever. Well, they'll put 40 hours worth of editing in one battle report, and that's no exaggeration. It's literally 40 hours of editing in one battle report. You're not doing that. Don't do that. Just start with the easy edit.
Yeah, no, honestly, it was terrible. So I think I literally got like 6 hours in on the edit, and I'd only done like turn 1, and I was like, this is looking terrible. And I was like, oh, the lighting's not very good. I just can't do it. So I've put that to bed for one, but I will chat to you about this off camera at some point.
Absolutely.
Work it out, I think.
I can definitely help, only because, 10 years, literally 10 years of doing it full time. Advice on filming bat rips with a phone. Rory, I know there are a number of channels that actually do that. I know that Matthew Glanfield's channel is exclusively filmed on a phone, and Scary from Scarredcast, every one of his battle reports are filmed on a phone. Basically, what I just said works. You only record what you're going to use in the battle report. If you don't like the last clip you made, delete it, and then you don't have to edit it later. And then just only record what you're going to use. You're done. It's literally that it. And for more tips on using your phone, just go to Scarredcast. Ask Scary. He will tell you anything more about using a phone that I haven't. Because I always use a camcorder. Like these days, the camcorders are cheaper than phones, but everybody has a phone, so.
Yeah, I think the only kind of major difference with the phones is sometimes you can get a bit like echoey on the filming, right? But I suppose if you get a good like mic system to go with it, then that kind of sorts that out, right?
So the most important thing, even though it's a thing I struggle with the most important thing for YouTube channel is audio. It's more important than video or anything else. You can have a grainy video. If your audio is good, you're good. But the same mics that we use at the studio actually plug into every phone as well. So a really good lav, like wireless mic set is like $400 for a 2-person mic set if you want to do that. That's Canadian too, so it's like what, $30 in pounds?
Yeah, Monopoly money, right?
Yeah, right. So Matt Roberts says, I watched him film that bat rap. Can you confirm it was a disaster? That you or me?
Yeah, so he was actually sat in the corner. So he was like, the person that's kind of sat there helping everyone. So with the rules and just been like, you've played that wrong. So he was that guy for that game, and yeah, he can confirm it was pretty awful actually.
I want that next employee. I was thinking about that more and more. The next guy I want to hire is somebody to sit in the live stream rooms or battle report rooms with me, whose job isn't to do anything other than sit there and watch. Because I've said this probably the last time we talked, but when you come into a battle report, there's a little speech I give everybody before we record the very first one. One of them is I'll ask them something like a very basic question, which is, like, if we're playing 40K and they're playing Space Marines, what's the move of a Space Marine? They're going to say 6. So I'm going to say, yes, it's been 6 for 30 years. It's only ever been 6. Now, it's 7 Horus Heresy, that's a whole separate thing. But I'll say, like, but at one point in the battle report, even though it's only ever been 6, you might say, I'm going to move them there 5 inches and move only 5 inches. Because we all make those brain farts in the moment. So I want a guy in a room just to sit and watch and catch the mistakes, because we may do a rule 10 times in a row correctly, but then we record the 11th one and we did it wrong. I want a guy watching and catching.
Yeah, 100%. I think it makes it a lot easier if you've got someone there to just kind of pick it up. I mean, Warhammer itself, from the 1st edition and 2nd edition, I think even 3rd, was designed to have somebody sat next to the table helping out. I know obviously we've kind of moved away from that in later editions, but it does really help the game if there's someone there picking up on stuff, because you miss it, your opponents can miss it. You kind of get like heated up in the action, don't you? And you can just miss stuff. Like, you can forget one of your special rules, they can forget one of theirs. Like, if they don't say something that's really pivotal for their army, you're not necessarily going to know about it. So it's just nice to have someone there to kind of pick up on those things. And especially if you're streaming it as well, then obviously it stops people from yelling at you online, right?
Nothing will stop them. But it's a game of I won't say chess, but there's constantly things you're thinking about, and you might thinking, okay, so this guy, he just moved his knights to this flank over here, and so if he doesn't march over that unit over there, I'm gonna get ready to attack over here. I'm gonna make sure I cast this spell next turn. Oh, what was that question you just asked me? No, they're weapon skill 4, and then you move on, but they're weapon skill 3. But you, in the moment, you're just thinking about 5 other things, and it's just, there's so many things going on in the game. And then I'll add one more layer. Then when you're narrating and you're trying to explain everything at the same time, it's a lot of things going on at once. You're gonna make mistakes. Do never feel bad. Like, it's just like, I don't think a perfect battle report has ever been made across any YouTube channel ever.
No, probably not. Although I think it's something that you definitely, it's the look of it and the flow of it that you want to get right? Like, it needs to be semi-perfect, I think, before it can go up. Obviously, like, I really like your live stream ones, because obviously, like, people can chat to you during them.
So
and
helpful.
It's like the static, yeah, exactly. And it's like the static camera as well just makes it a bit easier for you, so it's a little bit less stress. So you kind of don't really have to worry about the filming so much, because I can imagine if you're thinking about using the camera, then it's taking your kind of brain power away from the game, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, there's like, it's more than just the battle report, just like gaming in general. I remember years ago, I'm at a tournament, and it was a 40K tournament. We're talking 40K again, and I'm watching 2 guys argue, like not like to the point of fist, but this is a heated argument. Now, I didn't know these 2 guys very well, but they have both since become real good buds of mine, so I make fun of them both with this regularly. They're playing a game of 40K. If you know 40K, they have a 2-inch coherency rule, and it's been that way like forever. That's how far your models have to be apart when they're moving up the field. Like, in skirmish formation in fantasy, it's 1 inch, 40K is 2 inch. I'm watching these 2 guys argue vehemently about coherency being, I swear to God, one of these guys, very competent player, arguing it's 3 inches, and the other guy arguing was 1. Neither one of them was right. These are both experienced, competent players, but what happened was, the one guy who was arguing it's 1 had recently started playing Sigmar and played a big run of Sigmar games, and the coherency in that game is 1 inch. And then the other guy recently got into, I think it was Heresy Custodes, and he was actually playing Custodes in 40K at the time, but they had a weird 3-inch coherency rule. They both had something in their mind they're arguing, and that happens way more than people realize.
Yeah, it's the same with like edition bleed, game bleed as well is a really big one. Like, I've had so many arguments with people at tournaments and in like games of friends and stuff. It's like, no, this is definitely how it works, and like, one of you's wrong, right?
Well, I mean, you just said it though. Edition bleed is one of the hardest things. I remember when I started recording 40K for mini wargaming, I was able to do it well after a while because I only really played 7th edition. I didn't have previous edition bleed where people would come in and point out rules mistakes, but like, no, that's not in this rule book. You're pointing out another edition. And that happens so much in fantasy. In fact, like for the last year, I think the most common thing most common type of comment I'll get in a video is, you did X wrong, it's like this. And I have to reply with, no, that's 8th edition or that's 7th edition. Like that's not in this edition. It's very, I mean, when a rule, especially old world compared to like 8th edition or another edition, when a rule is very, very similar, almost exactly the same, but one thing gets left out in a sentence, like, oh, it changes the way it operates, that you're now thinking of a previous edition, and it's so easy for us to read a rule. Wargamers skim rules, we don't read them, it's very true. You skim that rule, and you're like, oh yeah, this is how it worked last time. And you just play that way for 6 months, and somebody points out, no, it's a little different now. Addiction bleed's the hardest thing for me.
Yeah, it's not even so much that we just skim it. I think we also just read the first couple of lines as well and just ignore the last bit. So if there's a positive for a rule on the first 2 lines and then a negative right at the end, you just don't read that, right? So yeah, exactly. You just don't, right? So I cheated quite badly at, I think, like the first 2 tournaments I went to in Old World. Luckily I didn't win or anything, so it's absolutely fine. But I read the Gromreal rule for dwarves that hand weapons give -1 AP. So in my head I was like, well, everything's got hand weapons. So like I didn't realize it would need the keyword on each of the different units, right? So people were charging into my war machines, and I was like, well, they've got Cromwell weapons, they're AP1, that's fine. But yeah, like that got pointed out quite early on. But there's a lot of stuff like that. Like you don't read the rules properly when you first start a game, right? You just kind of jump into it with 2 feet and just hopefully assume that you're right. But yeah, like assumption is bad, right?
I'll tell you right now, every time I play High Elves to this day, I got to do a little mini speech explaining how Arrows of Isha, while they do work on every bow in the High Elf book, you have to have the Arrows of Isha rule for it to apply. To this day, that's I think the most common one I got to deal with, where people will say something like, yeah, Arrows of Isha, or everybody's got AP1 in their bows in High Elves. Or even Biggins. That's the other one too, to play Orcs. If you bring a Biggins on Boar Boys and a Biggins on Infantry, there's guaranteed no, like for sure, I'm going to get at least one comment of somebody saying you can't take 2 units of Biggins. You can take 1 unit of Biggin Boar Boys, 1 unit of Biggin Infantry, but like in the previous editions, they were mutually exclusive. You don't have 1 unit of Biggins. Don't worry about it, Steve. Cheats all the time. Storm. It's true, Stormbolter. Thank you.
I did see the comment a minute ago about having to tell you that now the High Elves are now OP.
That's Nemo. Right, so. Okay, what's your thoughts on the High Elves? Let's put Nemo in his place. I actually think they're very good. Don't get me wrong. I think they're very good.
Yeah, I think they're really good. I don't think potentially that the Arcane Journals brought too much good stuff. Obviously, it's made some of the weaker picks much better, right? So you're going to be able to take the rings on the units that weren't particularly that good before. So like on the Silver Helms, suddenly their actually damage output is quite good now. I think Grand Army is probably the best way to go, just with a few of the upgrades from the new Arcane Journal. Although saying that, I have witnessed, yes, love it. How many have you got there?
I bought 9 chariots, so 2 units of 6 white lions on foot, and 3 more chariots for my white lions. So I have 4 white lion chariots now and 12 individual lines. But did you know, I'm going to pause here 1 second real quick so I forget this. I didn't know this because the last time I assembled a High Elf chariot was forever ago. So if you buy a plastic High Elf chariot right now, you can build a Tyrannok chariot with 1 crew on it. The remaining 2 crew, they're in my other office. The remaining 2 crew, you can convert them into lion woodsman models. You use the bow arm for the crew with the bow. You put the cloak on it, and then you get 2 lions. So 1 chariot kit gets you 2 war lions individual, 2 models to be lion woodsman, and a chariot with a single rider. You put a BSB or a character on that chariot, you get 3 units out of 1 kit. For some reason, they give you 3 full riders.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane, actually. To be fair, I've seen other people, because obviously they wanted to buy the lions separately, to have the lions just kind of roaming around in to be hunters. And obviously you can just make a load of Tyrannok chariots and have like units of lions, and it doesn't actually cost that much. So it's a kind of a nice thing that GW have done, right?
Well, that's the thing. Like I bought 9 chariots to take the lions out separately, and then I intended on converting the crew, like the charioteers, as the lion woodsman. But then after I'm done assembling everything, I'm looking at all the bits I got left over. I'm like, oh, I can literally make the charioteer full body helm arms that are holding the reins. Oh, I have a full Tyrannok chariot that I didn't expect to have, other than I'm missing one crew. Now, if I want to play with only one crew in my chariot, I don't, like, go ahead and do that. I don't know. At a tournament, is that a no-no? If I were to put only one crew on my Tyrannok chariot?
No, I mean, I think it'd be fine. I mean, you can kind of do what you want, really.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. Oh, careful, GW will hear you.
Hey, okay, look at that was by design. They made these things separate by design. I'm pretty confident in saying that the only reason why we got the Gratian Warhost in High Elves is because the kit was able to make a whole new unit that didn't exist previously. This is how you get your new unit that didn't exist, or didn't exist technically. I'm going to clear my messages.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like, how cool are the armies as well? Have you seen any of the White Lion armies on the table with the absolutely massive blobs of the White Lions? Like, it's just something glorious about seeing a unit of 40 or 45 White Lions in one place. Like, it just looks stunning.
I have 65 currently painted White Lions, so yeah, I played a lot of White Lions already. 2 units of metal, the unit of plastic ones. Get too many. Talk about Cathay, please. We will.
Yeah, no, that's definitely coming. I had a few comments on my channel about Cathay actually, when they were like, we definitely all knew Cathay was coming. And it's like, I honestly had no idea it was coming this soon. Did you?
So Cathay's gonna be a pretty fun army to play. I don't know. I don't know. No, I think I suspect what was supposed to happen well before Old World was released, that it was designed for the release of Old World. Things got pushed on, moved around. They didn't want to, I don't know. I'm it's a bunch of things in my head. Maybe they want to do 2-player star set, re-release Bretonia and Tomb Kings, whatever, push everything back. The game releases better than they expected, and it got moved up in the line. Because I was under the impression that Cathay was going to come out as a 2-player starter, in a 2-player starter set for the 2nd edition with Kislev. But no, I think the timeline has been greatly sped up, increased. We're farther along than they want to be, or they first planned to be. Yeah, no, yes, I very much expected them this soon. I guess we don't know when they're coming out. Is all I can say, right? I think it's fair to say this year. They're showing off that much.
I mean, so normally when they show off stuff like this, it's like 3 months later, isn't it? So I would probably, I'm not going to stake my life on this, but I reckon it'll probably be in about 3 months' time. So I think this is going to be this big summer release. That's when I think this is going to be coming, which is so interesting. Because normally with Games Workshop, they need a 2-year lead-up time for any kind of releases, really. So it'd be really interesting to know when the kind of the big push to bring this out was, because I, like yourself, assume that this was going to be 2nd edition or 1.5, because there's kind of like grumblings in the ether that there's going to be a 1.5 coming in the summer. So I thought so it's probably coming for then. Yeah. So I don't know, like we could be getting big rules changes. We might not be in line with these. I don't know.
It still could happen. So I got to be careful. I want to remind everybody, because there are a lot of people think that I know more than I do, and I just don't. So I'm going to tell you, like, straight up, I don't know. Now, there's 2 things that this has got in my head. One, we've never seen Games Workshop. Well, I guess we haven't seen Games Workshop for Old World show off 3 armies at once. They show off the Beastmen, the Wood Elves, and the Cathay. Both those battalions, a lot of Beastmen extra stuff. Cathay Mauls, I'm pretty sure that we haven't seen everything for Cathay. No, we definitely have not seen everything for Cathay. There's going to be more than just that. All at once. So you're right. Probably within 3 months makes sense. There's always a big release in the summer. Now, are you a Heresy guy at all?
So yes, I do play a bit of Heresy. I've got Emperor's Children.
So this is beautiful, actually. We'll play that too. So this has got, Luca, who is one of the, like, calmest, coolest people that I know. Like, nothing phases him. Not frantically, but almost like frantically, not really, I'm just exaggerating. So texts me while he's at Adepticon watching the reveals live. He's like, okay, he's going through all this, and basically the timeline, okay, will make sense coming out this summer. There's only ever one big release this summer. Does this now mean we're not getting Heresy this summer? Because they're not going to release Cathay and Heresy two big releases at once, but one's bigger than the other. One's an army, one's an edition. But they can't release Heresy next summer. That's the current timeline for 11th edition 40K, and they can't release the summer after that. That's the timeline for 4th edition Age of Sigmar. So what does this mean? Are we not going to get Heresy, or are we going to get Heresy in the summer and this gets pushed off to the winter?
I don't know, because obviously Old World isn't one of the big games, right? So we're still technically a specialist game. So I could still see Heresy getting released. Now it's one of the big main games, and then Old World coming out even just 2 weeks or a month later.
But two reveal shows in a row, they didn't show any Heresy off.
Yeah.
Did something happen that's pushing everything off?
Potentially. I mean, there is a lot going on in the world, isn't there? Like that's like with production issues. So potentially that's been pushed back. Maybe that's why they had to show a big release with the Cathay, potentially. Like maybe they weren't going to release it so early. Like, I mean, we can only speculate, right?
Oh my God, there's somebody from GW watching right now who's literally laughing, going like these idiots. It's this, and this.
Yeah, the thing is, like, a lot of people think that obviously we get the inside scoop, and we really don't, to be perfectly honest. Like, we don't know any more than you guys, which means that we are kind of talking out of our asses a lot of the time, right?
Yeah, well, we're YouTubers, we're war gamers, is all we ever do. It's all we all do. My only local gaming store doesn't even carry Old World. That's rough. Not a lot of Old World players in the area. It's growing.
I think once Cathay come out, it's going to grow exponentially. Then as soon as Kislev come as well, it's going to be crazy. Like, I can see in the future, if Old World keeps getting bigger and bigger, we're going to be getting range refreshes like they've done with Heresy, just redoing. Hopefully they do it in the same vein that they've done with Heresy and with Eldar. So they redo the models, but in a very similar vein, just a bit bigger and just a bit nicer sculpts. And I would love to see that.
I think you're dead on right. That's like a foregone conclusion. I mean, look at... Okay, so there's a lot of discussion about the Cathay models looking Age of Sigmar-ish, and I'm on both sides of the fence, and the answer to me is yes and no. They look like modern Games Workshop models. This is where things are going. This is what the lines are going to look like moving forward, and I'm totally okay with that. You take like the high-off models that I've had for 20 years and just refresh them like Richie just said, and they're going to look... they're going to fit the same universe. Look at these guys here. The Bretonian, I don't know if you see these. The Bretonian Foot Knights. They are a much larger scale. They almost don't fit the Bretonian aesthetic whatsoever, but that's the future of the way the Bretonians are going to look. It's just modern sculpting, right? Like you look at Space Marines from 7th edition compared to Space Marines from 2nd edition. It's not the same model. I mean, it's the same model. It's not the same model. You think we're now? We're good.
No, I was just thinking out loud, to be honest. I don't even know when they'd start doing that. They wouldn't start even doing that in 2nd edition. Like, they'd have to get all of the new stuff up first. But yes, I saw the comment for Vampire Coast. I hope we get Vampire Coast. That'd be amazing.
Oh my God! Oh my, that would get me to play Undead, and I hate me some Undead. And so Blaise points out the Reavers. That's a fantastic thing. A fantastic point. They look exactly like the old Reavers, yet somehow a little bit more modernized, a little bit more dynamic. And I guess they had to because they were on the old Island of Blood Sprues.
With the new Reaver models, how easy are they to kind of like change the poses, or are they just completely like monopose? I haven't actually looked at the sprues on them.
They're monopose. So modern Games Workshop miniatures are pretty well monopose for everything. Yeah. And there's like no options. So you're summoning them with a spear and a bow.
I'm just having a look online.
Romero, I hope GW brings back Chaos Dwarves. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah, they look really nice though. Like they're super similar, which is exactly what you want, right?
Well, I painted a bunch of old Reavers. I have 20 of the new Reavers. When I first saw the picture, I'm like, I had to open the box and be like, wait a second, is this the same old sprue? Like, no, I had to like really look and notice like, oh, the horses are like running a little more spread out, splayed out. The models are the same size, but also taking up a bigger like footprint because they're just more dynamic. Much similar to like you did mention the Eldar. Like the Eldar swooping hawks look exactly like the old resin or metal swooping hawks, but just bigger. Same as like the fire dragons. Like if you just look at the pictures, you almost can't tell. You have to like put them all side by side to see, that 1 centimeter size difference. So of all of Games Workshop,
sure. They're beautiful as well.
All of Games Workshop.
Sorry, I was
games,
just talking over you then.
No, it's gonna happen. But all of Games Workshop games right now, Old World is like the cheapest to get into. Like outside of 3D printing and aftermarket stuff, like if you're buying directly from Games Workshop, we get the best prices. That's gonna go away once Cathay's out, right? We're gonna start paying those premium Age of Sigmar prices.
Yeah, I was talking about this on stream yesterday. So I don't want GW to hear this. Hopefully there's nobody watching and hopefully they just stick at the same price. But it's bound to go up. There's no way that you can have a battalion box for the same price as the old Empire one. It's just not going to happen.
Not going to happen.
There's absolutely no way. Like I wish it is, because that's one of the nice things that's kind of drawing some people into the hobby, right? That it is a bit cheaper to get into. So you just get a lot more value for money out of your armies, right? So you're not buying like, obviously there are models that are like £37.50 just for one model, but it's not just like one chunky boy for that and then that's a certain amount of points. You can get really good value for money. Like you can get boxes of like 40 guys. So if you go to your like local gaming stores with like the 25% off or the 15% off or something, like you can get those like elite infantry for pretty cheap. And it would be really sad to see that go away, actually. Like I would really like to see the Jade Warriors being able to get boxes of 40 of these for a relatively similar price that we've seen before. I really hope we do, anyway. Really hope we do.
As long as they stay in squads of at least 20. I just don't want them to be sold in squads of 10 like they do for Sigmar, and they did for like the end of the 8th edition era. A lot of like even Empire infantry were sold in squads of 10. You needed 4 boxes of infantry to make one squad. Like that. You nailed it. Yeah. I actually really like buying one box and getting a whole squad these days.
Oh, it's so good. Well, if you think back to the really old days, when you were buying the metal blisters, so you're getting like blisters of 2 or 3 models to be able to get to a unit of 30. Yeah, like,
that's true. I'm so young. Canada, everything, all the cities are so far apart. So where I used to buy my miniatures when I was a kid was at a video store, like where you go rent your videotapes. So cassette tapes for you kids, the things they used to rent, they're a big black piece of plastic where you watched movies on. You go into the store, and that's where you bought your Warhammer little racks of blisters. I'm gonna buy one Dragon Prince. Once I get 4 more of these, I have a full squad.
I know, it was a nightmare. So I can remember buying my my first Hammer unit years ago, and they used to come in blisters of 2.
Yeah,
it was an absolute nightmare. Oh, yeah, I know, it was a nightmare. Oh, I've just seen. Nice. Glad you enjoyed the Royal Clans list. I'm glad you smashed some. They're pretty strong, aren't they?
You're all about the Royal Clan, right? But is it because that's where you can build your strongest list? Is that your favorite of the 3 to play?
I don't think it's necessarily the strongest list. I think the strongest list for dwarves is the gyrocopter spam. Like uncomped, it's just probably one of the strongest armies in the game. Comped, it's still horrendously oppressive. But I'm not really about that. I like having fun games. And for me, the Royal Clans plays how I think that dwarves should play. So you've got a bit of shooting, you've got a bit of combat, you've got big chunky units, and then you've got some like really good heroes that are running forward and smashing stuff, and then the anvil casting out magic. That in my head is how dwarves would fight on the battlefield, so that's why I like the Royal Clans. I'm a little bit of a War of Vengeance aficionado, yeah, so that's
fair. I don't want to argue with you because you're clearly more you're the dwarf expert here, not me, but like how do you get your points with the dwarf gyrocopter spam? Like, you're not going to give up points. I'll give you that. But how do you get your points?
So you give the entire... So everything has clatter guns. What you want to do is take as many scout gyrocopters as possible. So the list that I was running, which is a...
you're talking about... One. So you're talking about Extra Force, right? Because only they can take the scout gyrocopters. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, X-Force. So you just take as many gyrocopters as possible. Everything has clatter guns. And then you just kill everything that... Yeah. So everything that is toughness 3 or toughness 4, you just shred. You have 2 Olgun guns at the back. You get one of the Fireball things to just run around by himself, just bob out, shoot stuff, bob back. And yeah, they're so good. I stopped playing it because I think it's quite oppressive. I went to one tournament.
We must have played against that, yeah.
No. So I went to one tournament with it, and I ended up having to pull out because one of my friends had a bit of a family emergency. So I didn't
Ooh,
finish the tournament. But I'd won 3 games at the event so far, and I haven't lost a game with that list
right.
yet. And these are playing into some really good players. And I was like, you know what? It's probably for the best if I don't carry on with this, because then other people who watch my channel are going to end up using this list. And I don't think it's a good, healthy game state for everybody to be playing that. So I'd prefer to
Yeah.
people not to run it, I think.
Nobody likes playing against a gun line. As a YouTube video, nobody wants to watch a gun line. And now give that gun line a 20-inch fly.
Yeah, and a 10-inch Vanguard before the game starts as well.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. Like, because the guns have got a 24-inch range, so you've got a 44-inch range effectively
Mm.
with your guns, and then you get a free 10-inch Vanguard before the game starts. It's absolutely insane. They do have some rough matchups. So into like magical shooting. So if you're playing against beastmen that have got like 4 or 5 Viletide wizards, for instance, that can be quite hard to play into. You're gonna have to be really careful with that and staying out of ranges, but you can get the win. It'll be a closer win with that. But if you're playing against somebody and they've got 0 shooting and 0 magic missiles, it's just a horrendous game for them, and it's not fun. And realistically, this is a game you want both of you to have fun. You want to make the game as interactive as possible. I'm looking at you, Mortuary Cult players.
Fair. Who the hell is gonna bring 5 Viletide wizards like that? Like that is
So you know Tom Carley, right?
System. It's so bad for the thing. What you're saying?
Yeah, so you know Tom Carley, who comes on my channel. That guy. He brings 5 Viletides.
It's totally fine to do that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Yeah, but like the extreme skew is countered by a different extreme skew. Like, go figure, right?
Yeah. And I don't mind skew lists at all. Like, I play against loads of different skews all the time. But there does get to a point where you're like, you're a bad human. You shouldn't play this. Like, it's the same with the skin wolves. The saying that the skin wolf buff goes on to the heroes that are attached to the unit, right? I think Tom took that to a unit once, just because you can. There's nothing in the rules that say you couldn't. And we were just like, nah, it feels dirty. You just can't do that. We can't tell people that you can do that. So I think we did like one video about it and was like, right, we're gonna have to just leave that alone. It's too horrible. We're not going to touch that again.
I just realized that my screen was, sorry everybody, everything was off center. It distracted me. Okay, so you say both players want to have fun. Do you have that same mindset when you go to a competitive event? You still not want to bring all those gyrocopters in a competitive event?
No. I personally wouldn't. I think it's the thing for me is we're humans. We pay money, we save up money, we get all of our toys ready, we spend a lot of time like researching stuff about them, making the lists, loads of hours painting them. You rock up there, you pay the money for the event, all the travel. You don't want your opponent to have an absolutely terrible time. Like, that's just not something that I would want my opponent to have. Like, I want to have 5 really good games over a weekend, or 6, whatever. I don't want my opponent to have terrible games. Like, I'll always try and, for me, it's quite important to try and make sure that we both have a good time when we're playing, whether that be a casual game around one of your friends' houses, or whether that be in a really sweaty tournament. And the thing is, for me, like, I think there's this kind of like really weird misconception that the people who play in tournaments aren't nice people. I mean, that might have been the case years ago, but I found like some of the more fun and more balanced games that I have had are at events, because people seem to not want to take as much jank. I think some of the jankiest games I've ever had have just been playing in my local meta, really, where someone's just brought something that's horrendous because they want to smash their mates.
Oh, we all know that guy who he's not a competitive player, not a tournament player. He's against that completely. He only plays narrative, and he only plays Mortuary Cult, and he only, you know what I mean, like we all know that guy for sure. But you don't find, like, I feel, not that I feel, I'm gonna try to like defend the other side for a second. What about the guy who wants to go to the tournament and he's there for a competitive game and he only wants to play against your best, or that, like, he wants to bring his best, he wants to play against the best. Like that guy has a valid position and desire to play the tournament that way. No, like it's only fair.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. And if someone wants to play against my best, then I will play my best as well. But it doesn't mean that I've got to be an arsehole about it, right? I can still you can every time that they do something right, you can be like, nice, congratulations,
Right.
mate. Or if one of their tactics they pull that off really well, like I'll literally be like, mate, that because I love to see people pull off their tactics. So if they manage to do some like a crazy play, like I'll be really happy to see that. I'm not going to sit there and sulk and throw my toys out the pram and walk off the table. I love the game. I love Warhammer, and it's just like, even if you're playing against someone who just wants to win and they got their head really focused into the game, that's them enjoying themselves, right?
Yep.
And
For some
if
people.
you're seeing their tactics come through and it's working for them, like I'm not going to sit there and be really sulking about it. You just you gotta try and have a good game, right?
Yeah, fair. I'm just say I'm blessed I get to play so often. I guess how often you get to play? How many games do you get in a week?
Oh, lots. Yeah,
Like
lots.
still.
I mean, yeah. So I'm quite blessed, really. So obviously, since I've picked up international Warhammer as well, I was quite blessed to be able to be to pick to lead Team England. So we're getting in a lot of team practice. So I still play with my friends. So like we have club nights on Friday night. So still play with my friends like who aren't involved in competitive Warhammer on Fridays, and then try to go to a lot of events on weekends. And then during the night, during the week, probably have one or two games every couple of days, maybe. Like some weeks it'll be you play once, twice, three times a day. So quite a lot of Warhammer actually.
Oh,
Which,
is that the norm for I want to call you a competitive player, but more of a you're almost a professional player, right? Like you clearly played more than me, and I feel like I play nonstop.
yeah, I think so. I mean, obviously we're trying to represent our country going
Right.
forward. So we just had a friendly scrim against Team USA last week. That was really fun. And that was so the way that would work is we do all the pairing. So we've got 8-person team. So we kind of pair the games off, play those games, but then in between all of those games, we would then be practicing different variations of the person's list that we're playing into. So the one game, so like for me, I played against a really good player called Phil Carl. He was running a Tomb King's army, which was the 4 monsters. So I probably played about 10 to 15 practice games thinking about what I was going to do, and also games by myself as well, just kind of running through positioning and what I was going to do, because that was a really, really bad matchup for me. I kind of threw myself under the bus with that. There was kind of no way that I was going to win that game, but I just had to try and minimize the amount of points he could get off me. So I was just trying to practice where I could go. So yeah, we play quite a lot actually,
Okay.
which is good though.
So wait, before I ask a question, Jedi Boss said I got third place with my demons on the weekend, 1-2, and lost my last game against Star Dragon. Jedi, can you let me know what your list kind of looked like? Because I actually recorded a game yesterday with Mitch, and Mitch is like he's getting very difficult for me to beat. He's getting really good at maneuvering, but he's still struggling with his demons. I want to know what your list looked like so I can like talk to Mitch about like it's the only army he's struggling with currently in the old world. Okay, how did you play the US team? You guys play online, or
Yeah. So we played online. So there is a website called warhall.eu. Everybody that doesn't know about it, please go over there.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so you can play Warhammer online. So if you downloaded that, we could literally play Warhammer against each other. It's really good. It's like a tabletop simulator, but designed for rank and flank games. So there is an old world setting, there's a fantasy setting, and there is a 9th age setting on there as well. So if you download that, then we can get some games in, mate. So it's warhall.eu.
I recognize now. So I see. Okay. Yep. So the funny thing is I am against this. I need Games Workshop to make money selling miniatures. You can't enjoy their game without using their miniatures. No, I'm kidding. I recently watched a battle report. I think it was from Closed Order, and this is definitely the thing he was using.
Yeah, it is. So
I just assumed it was a tabletop simulator.
No, so it is this. I controversially don't actually like the Warhol battle reports. I'm not a massive fan of them. I like to see the models and stuff, but I think this has a really good place in playing against people that you physically can't play against. So if me and you were going to have a game, for instance, this is probably the only way without one of us spending thousands of Monopoly money to be able to do it, right?
Fair, it's true. All right, well, we're gonna have to make that happen then.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't actually stream the games against USA. Oh no, there was one actually. So one was streamed onto Squarehammer, if you want to see that one. So that was our Chaos player, Steve Toll, and he was playing into Vampire Counts. So that's over on Squarehammer.
So are you guys trying out new list type builds, or just practice the actual game? Like, are you building lists to try them, or just your tactical practice?
So kind of everything. So it's kind of trying to work out what works best for teams, because Team Warhammer is very different than than a normal all-round list, right? So for anyone who hasn't played it in team events, because I know it's quite a niche thing, right? So you know that you're not going to be playing into certain builds, so you wouldn't particularly have to have an all-rounder list. So if you want to make an army that has 0 magical defense, you can be engineered to be able to put into an army that has no magical output, for instance. So if you wanted to take no magical defense on your high elves, we could try to put you into dwarves or into something that has no mages. So you can make a more skewed list that would probably be worse into some matchups but much better into other matchups. So it's currently just trying to work out ways to kind of create those lists that work better into those scenarios that we can then engineer.
Okay, I need to pause you because how many players on that team?
So we have 8 playing players, and then we have 2 subs. I know Team USA at the moment has quite a lot of players because they haven't finalized their final team. So we're going to be playing in Mela in Germany in September. But we've also got a international event in Italy that we're going to be going to in a couple of months, which is quite exciting as well, actually.
So, okay, so if there's 8 players on a team, is there 8 games in a round?
Yes, yeah. So you would do all of the pairings for those 8, and you would all play. It depends at the tournament. Sometimes you would all play, say, open battle, and then the next round you would play against a different team, and all 8 would play the next one, like Mountain Pass or something. Or it would potentially be one plays open battle, one plays Mountain Pass, and then it changes for each game. So that's something else that you need to think about when you're doing the matrices. Well, this is all technical stuff that's probably quite boring, right?
But no, actually, I have more questions. No, it's not boring at all for me. So 8 players, 8 rounds. You're saying you don't have to play into a thing. How? Okay, this is fascinating to me because I just don't do this. How? You have 8 different lists. I'm playing high elves with no magic. I want to play against dwarves. How are we making that happen? How does this happen where we're picking our opponents?
So the way that it happened. Wait a minute. I've got some cards here. Right. So basically, what we would be doing is you would have a defender card, which you pick your defender armies. So these would be armies that are like really stable and not necessarily the strongest armies, but you could rely on to get draws. So you'd be thinking vampire counts, tomb kings, dwarves, just stuff that doesn't really die. You know, that stuff that doesn't give up their points too easy, right? So then you would put your defender down first, and then your opponent's going to put 2 attackers down, and then you pick one of those. So you would get to choose what you play into, basically. Like, it's good fun. It's good fun.
Interesting. That sounds like a lot of fun. Who's on Team Canada?
Yeah, I don't know if there is. I don't know if there was. So I was talking to Shane about Team Canada, and I don't think there is one this year, unfortunately.
Okay, we get Luca. We can get Val. Who else wants to join Team Canada? Come on, let's do this, guys. Yes. When is this, in September?
Yes, in September in Mel in Germany. So please come on over. That'll be awesome. It'd be great to see you.
It's not happening.
That would be good. Well, I think we've probably spoke about that a little bit too much. I can imagine everyone just wants to hear about Cathay, right?
Oh, fair. I forgot. So we didn't, first of all, Spoons, member 41 months of Pig Sporter. How dare you disrupt my regularly scheduled work day? We were talking about this. Pig Sporter isn't free, you know. Nice to see that Steve has friends who are on his payroll. That's also true. I was getting worried. Share, subscribe. Yeah, shut up, Spoons. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, you and I did not discuss how long this video would be. I'll let you know right now, and a lot of people here already know this, that when I start these things, I tend to go for like 4+ hours. So when you want to call it, we call this thing, okay?
How long has it been going so far?
Not quite an hour yet.
Not quite an hour. Should we just say an hour so we have more stuff to talk about next week?
Absolutely. Which I'll let you guys know right now. next time we do this will be next Monday at 10 a.m. on Dawiafterdark. Make sure you catch us over there.
Yes.
Link in the description of this video. Make sure you're already subscribed. Click that bell, all that kind of stuff, because all those things matter with YouTube.
Which will be 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock my time. We couldn't work it out today because the clocks changed, and it was a bit of a logistical nightmare, actually.
It's true. It's true. So wait, it's for you right now. It is 4 p.m., right? Oh, 3:45, right?
Yes, yeah. So it's 3:45 my time now, which was really weird because when we spoke last week, it wasn't that. So that
right, because our clocks we change our clocks and you do it. Wait, when's your change again? You're coming up.
So I was changed on Saturday.
Oh,
but
yours
I
already
don't
changed.
understand how the.
Wait,
I don't understand why the.
Wait,
has yours changed yet?
Yeah, ours already changed. So you changed. I think you were like 20 days after us. How we? You know what? I play Warhammer for a living. I don't gotta know this.
I don't know what's going on. Unless has my just not changed on my phone. Is anybody in the UK and it just hasn't changed on my phone, but it is actually only 3 o'clock now? I don't know what's going on.
Is it possible? No, is that possible? It's 3
know,
UK time. It's you. You did it. It's only 3 o'clock your time.
Is it? I've literally got no idea. Surely it would change on my phone, right? I don't know. I'll check when I leave.
All right, Grand Cathay. Beautiful models. People were asking for my video. I typically is 3:40 something.
Oh yeah, I am right. Whoever said it was just 3 o'clock, you.
And nobody knows anything. That's okay. We don't got nothing. We all play Warhammer.
Yeah, this is true. This is true. So, what was your favorite part of the reveal, mate? Considering I was just utterly shocked by this.
Looking at. Okay, I'm gonna pull out some of the miniatures. Looking at the miniatures, I immediately had this internal struggle of, oh, I really want to paint that myself. I'm gonna paint this army. I have a guy for that. I'm gonna hand it off to Dale to paint. I think ultimately I am going to paint this army. I think I like so. Okay, to explain, it's a little backstory for me. I am very happy we have a new army coming out. I am very. I want to downplay this. I'm very happy it's Cathay, whatever. I don't care about Cathay. It's never been my thing. But a new army's a new army. I'm all here for it. But after seeing these models, I'm starting to like, okay. The idea of Cathay wasn't overly attractive to me, other than it being a new army. But after seeing the models, like now I'm super stoked. These cav, these infantry, these war machine. Now the giants, they're a little plain, a little bland.
I think that's potentially just the paint jobs, though, right? It's all stunning, and if you look at all of the models in like really good detail as well, they're going to be so. I think these will be really easy to paint with contrast paints as well. Like they're a contrast dream, aren't they?
Oh,
so
I
like just slap chop them and it'll be absolutely fine. Slap chop them, chuck some contrast on, and I think you'll be able to get some really, really nice results with these. Like I think you could make them as complicated as you wanted to. You could go absolutely nuts and spend like a week painting an individual guy, or you could probably paint one in about 20 minutes as well, which is really what you want from a model, because then you can just kind of do what you want.
So my whole thing is I want to get things painted as fast as possible, get them on camera. So I already have a whole plan in my head for everything I'm going to paint in this army. You know, I'm going to be a little, maybe possibly controversial for a second. I think this is the first time we're going to see a Warhammer Old World army being brought into Sigmar instead of the other way around. I would totally, if I was still playing Sigmar, Cities of Sigmar, I would use these models as my Cities of Sigmar models.
Surely that'd annoy some of the Sigmar players, surely.
I don't care. We've been taking theirs for so long. They can take some of ours. I'm okay with it. Did you play Total War?
Yeah, so I did. I didn't play the newest Total War, so I don't really know much about Cathay. So so when I was talking about them the other day, I was like just asking people to let me know about the lore, because I don't really know that much, to be perfectly honest. I kind of dunked out on Total War 2. Yeah. I didn't really play too much of 3. I don't know why. I just never really had time to play on it, unfortunately.
I didn't play any 3 either. I'm really bad at Total. I enjoy it, but I'm really bad at it, so I didn't bother with 3.
Yeah, I'm not very good at it. Like the only way that I can win games in Total War is if I kind of pause it, work out what I'm doing, think about it, and then send units over there. So if I'm playing against someone live, they just absolutely smash me in about 10 seconds.
That's fair. I got so I'm reskimming this article real quick before I say, because I think there was some concern that they are, the book, their Arcane Journal is just Grand Army. I have been whispered that it's Grand Army in two armies of infamy as well.
Oh, okay.
They're going to be, so you get Grand Army and 2 armies of infamy. This is not confirmed, but the Arcane Journal will give you Grand Army and 2 armies of infamy inside of it.
Okay, what's the whisperings on the air about which Arcane Journals they're going to be?
That I had no idea. Just that there was because the book is called, I have it on screen now, it's called the Armies of Grand Cathay. I think some dyslexia can confuse you and think it's the Grand Army of Cathay. It's just to be the Grand Army of Cathay. I had somebody, obviously, I can't say, never mind, I can't say. Somebody told me, I got a text saying, hey, don't worry, there's going to be 2 Arcane Journal Armies of Infamy in that as well. So again, I not confirmed, it was a text I got. I had nothing to confirm, or I can't even point out who said it, but I'll let them say so next time they're on. Oh, I can't even say that. Fuck. Yeah, it is my current belief. I shouldn't be lying. I'm so about Warhammer Total Wars doesn't feel the same as the rest of the franchise. Just feel appropriate for the setting. Yeah, fair. Do you think, without knowing any of the rules in Grand Cathay at all, obviously, do you think we're going to see?
We do know some of them, right? Because they've talked about some of them, and some of the rules that they have spoke about are cooked.
Okay. What are you talking about, and where did these rules come out?
So if you were watching the live stream, yeah, so obviously they said the lances can fight in, so when the lancers charge, they can fight in 2 ranks. And when the lancers follow up, they count as charging. So if you give ground from the lances, I've spoke to a couple of people and they think that the Jade Lancers are not going to actually have lances. They're just going to be cavalry spears to fight in 2 ranks. But the fact they're called lancers and the fact that everything written about them says lance, I think that these potentially could be some of the strongest cavalry in the game with that. Sure. So fighting in 2 ranks, and also if you give ground, so you're going to have to do some like really cool tech of like putting units behind your units to stop give grounds, because if you fall back in good order or give ground from them, they're just going to be naughty, right?
Yeah. Sure.
Same with and that, how cool is that? So another rule that they spoke about as well was the balloons giving line of sight to artillery. So you can have one of them kind of like puffing around. This also makes me think something interesting as well. The cannon, do we think that's actually going to be a cannon, or is it potentially just going to be a really strong mortar actually? Because I don't think that you'd be able to give line of sight for a cannon unless you're going to get some like hella trick shots, right? So I think it's just going to be a really big mortar, like hopefully not too crazy, but that's what I can see, I think. So
just like just to point, the Jade Lancers, if they are 65 points a model, I don't care if they fight in 5 ranks, they're going to be trash. So these are just pieces of a puzzle that we haven't seen yet. So like we have no idea the power level this is going to be on. Now, if this follows Games Workshop's historical method of like the newest thing is the strongest thing, great, whatever. But that hasn't always been the case in 40K lately. So we have nothing on Old World to suggest that's a true thing. Like every Arcane Journal released hasn't been more powerful than the last one. So we haven't had that trope in the Old World whatsoever. But without knowing any idea where the power level is going to be, just the fact that it is a new plastic army. Well, I already know that we're going to see a ton of these armies built and played out there. Do you think you're going to see a lot of these competitively? And the way I'm asking the question is, like, when you're going to an event, I know there's a lot of people who are just there because that's the only way they get to play, but are people playing armies that they love, or they start new armies in the Old World competitively, in your opinion? Because a lot of people I'm playing are people that either have just gotten to Warhammer Fantasy, so they haven't played 8th edition or anything before, or they have played things before and they're just playing their old armies and refreshing them with newer models. Like, your scene, are people building, like, for example, you've been playing dwarves forever. I'm going to ask this question. Did you stick to dwarves because you love dwarves, or they were the playstyle you want to play competitively?
Yeah, so that's quite an interesting question, actually. I think there is a almost 50-50 split, I think. There are people that just want to play that army because that's what they want to play. That's the army that they love, and they're going to try and make that work competitively. And then you've got the people that have either just they just like one of the really strong armies, or they've come over from a different game system and they've kind of gone, right, what's the three best armies at the moment, tick tick tick, I'll play one of those and try and get some wins in. So it's kind of a 50-50 divide, I think.
So you're going to see as much influx in your community as like the rest of us. There's going to be a ton of these at every event coming forward, whether they're good or bad.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. I think, especially for the first couple of months after release, they're going to absolutely flood it. Like, I reckon out of like a 60-person event, you're probably going to see like, what, 15 of these probably. They're going to be everywhere, which is good to see. I think this is an amazing thing for the meta. I think it's going to really shake the game up. I hope they're really good. I hope that they're really, really good into the armies that are absolutely smashing people at the moment. So then it makes those people have to rethink all of those armies. And I think that'd be really good.
I am upset with myself with how much I like these miniatures.
Oh, they're so nice, aren't they?
Okay, is this going to be for you? I think you already answered this, but you have any interest in starting a Cathay army without reading the rules? Just looking at these models is enough for you?
So if I wasn't 100% dedicated to a different type of army, I would probably, I probably definitely would. Like, the models are absolutely stunning. I might be tempted with Kislev when they come out. Like,
I know
they have beards, right?
They got dudes riding bears.
Yeah, exactly. And now that we've seen these, they're going to do them exactly the same art style as Total War.
Yeah,
so it's going to be stunning. It's going to be amazing.
This is not, you're not supposed to make me excited for the next thing Games Workshop. I got to do this right now, but I am so stoked for Kislev. You have no idea. All right, so but
I was just saying, now that we've seen these, the stuff to come just gets me so excited with what's going to be coming out for Games Workshop over the next couple of years. It's going to be insane.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess Kislev could be here a lot sooner than we all thought too. If these things are right around the corner, potentially right around the corner. But they did not say coming out this year, did they? Do you remember them saying that?
I don't think so. But then, did they even say that Cathay was going to be coming out anytime soon? The last bit I heard about Cathay was them saying, "Oh, at some point in the future," right?
I'm fairly confident in saying that they said that it would not be coming out. Cathay would not be coming out this first edition. Did they not say that? Somebody in chat confirmed that.
Potentially. I thought they just put up a post saying that it was not anytime soon or something, horrendously vague like that.
Then never mind what I just said. Fair enough. Okay, so we got to get off so we can plan some more things, you and I, for the future. But we're going to do this again next week. Pretty much 23 hours from right now, if you're with us live right now, over on Dawiafterdark. Make sure you subscribe and click that bell thing first so you know that we're there. Next week, next Monday, we're going to do this again. This is fun. We talked about everything and no plans.
No, and I think we'll probably continue to just chat, chat crap, right?
yeah, we're just gonna wing this. Have a fun chat. Talk about random Warhammer things. All right, dudes. Thank you for showing up. Appreciate y'all being here. Richie, you want to shout out anything else that you want them to click on?
Oh, just if you like dwarves or like anything to do with your world, just pop over to Dawiafterdark and see if you like it, and I'll hopefully see you over there.
Later, everybody.